When CJI Suryakant remarked that the Supreme Court's landmark 2023 Gender Sensitivity Handbook was too Harvard oriented in February this year, he signaled more than a critique of legal vocabulary. 6 months later, the top court has unveiled a new handbook that shifts the focus from dismantling gender stereotypes into judgments to reshaping how judges treat victims and witnesses inside courtrooms. Welcome to The Print. I'm Ruchi Bhattar, and in this video, let's put these two gender sensitivity handbooks, one during CJI Chandrachud's time and the other during CJI Suryakant's time, to a comparative test. How do they differ in institutional origins, specific objectives, and the breadth of their recommendations? Let's break down in this video. Now, in February this year, CJI Kant had urged the National Judicial Academy in Bhopal to form a panel of domain experts, academicians, and lawyers to re examine the issue and frame guidelines for practical training, asserting that it serves no purpose to sermonize High Court judges while sitting in the Supreme Court. While the CJI Chandrachud era handbook sought to reform judicial language, the new document under CJI Kant prescribes everything from offering victims a chair and water to ensuring legal aid, counseling, and witness protection, marking a significant change in the judiciary's approach to gender sensitivity. The DYC handbook is more focused on foundational deconstruction of gendered language, while the CJI Kant one is more about trauma-informed ecosystem that includes practical courtroom reforms and broader inclusivity. The 2023 handbook, titled Handbook on Combating Gender Stereotypes, was conceptualized by then CJI Chandrachud, and the 2026 one focused on developing guidelines to inculcate sensitivity and compassion into judges, is prepared by a committee of experts chaired by Justice Anuruddha Bose, a former Supreme Court judge, and various practitioners and social workers. Now, how do they differ? On Western influence, the DYC handbook specifically identified and rejected several stereotypes that linked Western practices to social harms or judicial biases. It labeled as incorrect the idea that young people follow Western culture and engage in casual relations, which supposedly increases the likelihood of sexual violence. The reality is labeled that a survivor's lifestyle or motivations for sex are irrelevant to the legal significance of the offending conduct. It also rejected the stereotypes that Indian women behave differently from Western women after a man has sexually assaulted or raped them. The handbook clarified that each woman reacts based on her unique personality and social circumstances, and it is not possible to categorize reaction based on the country or region of origin. Now, the new handbook under the aegis of CJI Kant was explicitly directed by the Supreme Court to move away from westernized legal jargon. The court's directive stated that the guidelines should be prepared in simple language comprehensible to laypersons rather than being loaded with heavy, complicated expressions born from foreign languages and jurisdictions. It recommends that judges be aware of offensive expressions in local dialects rather than focusing on English or foreign legal terms. On origin and authorship, the CJI DYC Chandrachud was conceptualized during the COVID-19 pandemic as a knowledge component for the E-Committee of the Supreme Court of India. It involved contributions from the Social Justice Subcommittee and the Center for Research and Planning at the Supreme Court of India. In contrast, the CJI Kant handbook originated from a suo motu writ petition where the court noted a lack of compassion and empathy in the High Court judgment involving a minor victim. This led to a formation of a 5-member committee of experts, including former judges, academics, and social workers tasked by the National Judicial Academy to draft comprehensive guidelines. On the core objective, the primary aim of the 2023 handbook is to assist judges and the legal community in identifying, understanding, and combating stereotypes about women. It focuses on how internalized biases distort the law's application to women in harmful ways. the 2026 handbook has a broader procedural mandate to inculcate and nurture an inherent sensitivity and discernment into the approach of members of the judiciary, as well as into the accompanying court procedures. While the 2023 handbook is a tool for mental and linguistic reframing, the 2026 one is seeking to create a language ecosystem and a more empathetic criminal justice system, specifically for vulnerable and minor victims. On linguistic guidance and glossaries, both handbooks provide glossaries to replace biased terms, but they categorize them differently. The 2023 one uses a stereotype promoting language as incorrect versus alternate language as preferred format. For example, it suggests replacing adulteress with a woman who has engaged in sexual relations outside of marriage and prostitute with sex worker. The 2026 one employs a traditional problematic phrase versus a neutral and legally appropriate alternative table. It targets more descriptive judicial language, suggesting that descriptive phrases like the body of women as playground be replaced with violated bodily autonomy of complainants or victims. It also explicitly advises avoiding religious or cultural references like where the women are honored, there the gods rejoice. The DYC handbook is structured around debunking specific categories of stereotypes, those based on inherent characteristics. For example, women are overly emotional, gender roles, which say that women should do all the household chores, and sex and sexual violence, that say that women who say no actually mean to say yes. It counters each with a reality explanation. On the other hand, the CGI Kant handbook goes beyond cognitive stereotypes to offer compassionate court practices. Its recommendations include witness as guest, that is, treating witnesses with respect to ensure they do not tremble on getting summons. It also talks about support systems, which are mandatory inquiry by judges into whether victims have been provided legal assistance and support persons from the point of filing an FIR. About courtroom environment, the handbook suggests proactive measures such as offering a chair and water and moving unnecessary people out of the court during a sensitive testimony. Now, the handbook also differs on research methodology and scope. Importantly, the handbooks utilize different foundations in their findings. The DYC 2023 handbook has a jurisprudential focus and highlights binding decisions of the Supreme Court of India that have already rejected harmful stereotypes. On the other hand, the CGI Kant 2026 handbook does more of an empirical study and is informed by an analysis of 125 trial court judgments and a stakeholder questionnaire involving judicial officers, victims, and witnesses. It includes a report showing that 80.7% of respondents were unaware of the witness protection scheme, leading to a recommendation for greater awareness efforts. In fact, the CGI Kant handbook includes the full text of the 2018 Victim Compensation Scheme as an annexure, providing concrete financial guidelines that are absent in the DYC version. On approaching queer issues, the two handbooks, both committed to non-binary inclusivity, differ in how to approach LGBTQ plus issues. The DYC one focuses on debunking cognitive myths and providing preferred legal terminology, while the CGI Kant handbook emphasizes institutional sensitivity, regional linguistic nuances, and the recognition of same-sex partnerships. Both handbooks provide glossaries to replace pejorative and outdated terms, but the CGI Kant handbook introduces more contemporary international frameworks. The DYC handbook suggests replacing hermaphrodite with intersex and transsexual with transgender. While the CGI Kant handbook does not talk a lot on queer terminology, it notes that while homosexual is in common use, it may be substituted with the word gay. It explicitly identifies lesbian as an acceptable term for women. It also introduces the acronym, which goes for sexual orientation, gender identity, expression, and sex characteristics. noting it is gaining acceptance in the judicial discourse. The two handbooks utilize different methods to advocate for queer dignity. The DYC handbook provides a stereotype versus reality table, explicitly debunking the myths like transgender individuals cannot be raped. It explains that they are one of the groups most vulnerable to sexual violence because they face structural discrimination and stigma. The 2026 handbook includes first hand testimony from a trans person who described being forced to strip for identity verification, being mocked, and being denied access to family during legal processes. It focuses on the systemic barriers and patriarchal attitudes gender diverse individuals face in India's criminal justice system. On recognition of relationships and partners. A key difference between the two handbooks lie in how they address relationships outside of the traditional binary marriage. The DYC Handbook of 2023 focuses on removing gender stereotype roles within heterosexual contexts, such as replacing a dutiful wife with wife or housewife with homemaker. The CGI Kant's 2026 handbook explicitly recommends the word partner as an ideal substitute for terms like mistress or concubine, specifically stating that this term would extend to same sex relationships also. It places a unique emphasis on the linguistic diversity of India regarding gender diverse communities, identifying different names used in different parts of India to describe transgenders. The handbook characterizes these regional terms as implicitly pejorative and advises that the terms intersex or transgender are the only acceptable and dignified options for court language. The DYC handbook did not delve into these regional linguistic variations. Now, there are a few recommendations for future practices in the CGI Kant's 2026 handbook for gender sensitivity. A unique suggestion in it is for the judiciary to bear in mind the linguistic diversity of India and identify offensive expressions in local dialects. It further recommends that guidelines be drafted in simple, comprehensible terms for laypersons rather than being loaded with heavy, complicated expressions born from foreign languages. The compassionate court practices recommended by the committee chaired by Justice Anuruddha Bose represents a shift from an accused focused system to one that centers on privacy, dignity, and mental well being of victims and witnesses. These practices aim to reduce secondary victimization by supporting individuals until they are fully rehabilitated. It also places a heavier emphasis on intersectional vulnerabilities, specifically citing cases that recognize compounded discrimination based on caste, gender, and disability. It suggests that at the very first instance a matter reaches court, the presiding officer must inquire whether the victim has been provided with legal assistance. If not, a judge should direct the district legal service authorities or the investigating officer's superior to ensure written compliance within 48 hours. The new handbook mandates that an investigating officer shall ensure support persons are available to a victim from the point of filing an FIR through the end of the case. This is particularly emphasized for child victims to avert re victimization. To alleviate anxiety and build confidence, trial judges should ensure that victims undergo professional counseling before the trial begins. For humanizing the court environment, a judge should proactively direct staff to offer simple courtesies, such as offering a chair and water to help a victim who is deposing feel more comfortable. Plus, judges are encouraged to be more vigilant and move unnecessary people out of the courtroom to ensure that victim is not intimidated during sensitive testimony. Presiding officers especially ought not to wait for application of the victim but should treat it as a legal obligation to ensure protection under the Witness Protection Scheme of 2018, and to avoid traumatic confrontation, the court should establish video links or allow testimony behind a screen so the victim does not have to see the accused. Even proactive judicial conduct is suggested. During a cross examination, a judge must not sit as a silent spectator while a victim is subjected to embarrassing, insulting, or intimidating questioning. They must specifically control inappropriate questions regarding a victim's sexual history. Judges are also directed to avoid asking stereotypical or blaming questions and must strictly prohibit bail conditions that force the victim to interact with the accused. Before we leave, a thank you to all our 3 million YouTube subscribers for helping us reach this milestone. Your support keeps us going and motivates us to keep delivering our best journalism every day. If you haven't subscribed yet, join the print community by hitting the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video.